Hi, it's Chris from Taos Cakes, and good for you for clicking that button to find out more about the Cake Ninja cake pricing spreadsheet. This has revolutionized my business. I never worry about my quotes anymore. I have all of them in one place. I keep my ingredient prices updated, so as prices change, my quotes will change. I look at this all the time in terms of what orders I have coming up in the next week, anything that needs to be finalized, paid, a way to invoice people. It has just changed everything. So I'm just going to give you a brief bird's eye view of everything that this spreadsheet can do for you. So right here I'm on the instructions tab, and I have given you very detailed instructions, both written and a tutorial for each sheet that needs it. Some of them are self-explanatory, and all this information here about tutorials for each of those, some of the other projects that I have, and also how you can email me with any questions and subscribe to my YouTube channel, because that's where I update everything. Okay, so the first thing that you do is you just do a general setup. Tell the Ninja what your prices are, and you never worry about that again, okay? Unless you change your hourly rate or you change your price for your cupcakes or something like that. This is all gone into detail in the tutorial, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. And also your tax rate. So anytime anything changes, you're going to change it on the setup sheet down here, because that is going to feed into all the other formulas. Your costing master, which is the most awesome part of this whole thing. This is a blank one, but let me show you one that has a Russian honey cake costed out for you. So it gives you a place to put the name of the person, the cake, how many servings, when it's date, how they paid for you. You estimate the time that it takes you to make that cake. If you make it and you realize, well, yeah, that took me 6 hours or 3, then go back and change it, and then your pricing will change and get more accurate. But this time I made it, and it took me about 4 hours. Okay, so remember, you're not going to do anything in terms of input unless it's yellow. So if it's yellow, you can do anything you want. If it's white, no. If it's green, no. Only yellow, okay? All right, so then this is going to summarize everything, and then it's going to go over here after you've put everything in, and you can see here that I've inputted the information from my costs of supports and whatnot and my recipes. And again, how to do that is all in the tutorial, so I'm not going to show you here now. But anyway, suffice it to say, I know all my costs associated with this cake. And they popped up here after I did the input at 109 automatically. So I know, okay, my labor, my ingredients, my supports, everything cost me 109 bucks. So if I want to make a 30% margin, I would give that quote of $156. That will tell me how much profit I make and how much it is for serving. So I decided I would quote that cake at $210. So when I quote that cake, whatever that is, it tells me down here it's $8.75 a slice. I make 101 in profit. It's about 48%. But let's say I want to do 175, so I change that. Okay, well that's the price per serving. This is the ideal quote that you just put in. You're going to make 66 in profit and a little bit less in profit margin. Okay, but I went ahead and kept it at 210 because that was what I wanted to make. Okay, so when you finally figure that out. Okay, so it puts that number here, 210. If there was cupcakes, which you would have input over here, and those are by the dozen, so I don't price those out separately. I just do those by the dozen. If you had put cupcakes in, they would have appeared here. Your tax is automatically calculated. And if you had put in delivery information, that would have been here. So for this whole cake, tax and everything is $225.36. And I love that because it's super simple. You can play around up here with your different prices if you think that's not going to fly in your community, or you think you maybe could push it up a little bit. It's just awesome to see what your different price points can be and what your profit margins are. Okay, so that's the Russian honey cake. Now, I know that I made a 48% profit, and if I ever make this cake again, what I've done is I've put it down here under price list. So that Russian honey cake, I've put all the pertinent information, 210, profit margin. So I don't have to cost that out every time somebody asks for it. I'm going to have this, and this is a fresh new one for me this quarter, so I don't have many things in here. So anyway, cakes that you make a lot, you're going to put here so that you don't have to price them again. You can just go, oh, okay, that's what this cost. You can also start to see your profit margins all in one place, which is really cool when you're starting at the beginning of the year to see, well, how did I do last year? All right, let's go over the other sheets. I'm making tracks here because I want you to see everything. So the other thing you can do is this order tracker, which I look at every day, because as orders come in, I put the name, I put the quote that I gave them. I click twice here and I can put the due date. You can put in the time or AM, PM, whatever that cake is due. Delivery location, or if it's not being delivered, just leave it blank. I have an intimate package, so this is on mine, and I don't think it's on the one that I sold you, the standard one, because I just entered this in that one, so don't worry about that. So what you're going to have is your main cake, like if you're just selling a birthday cake or whatever, or if it's a bride's cake. You're going to input number of servings, the number of tiers, what size you think you want. So if you're going to do a 5-serving cake, maybe do a 5-incher. Go ahead and put your flavor, your filling, your frosting, any kind of decor. Do the same thing for the groom's cake and the same thing for cupcakes for that particular order. Then you can say, is delivery included, yes or no. You can make some special notes to yourself, things you want to remember, like no nuts or whatever. How you contacted them, because sometimes it's confusing. Was it Facebook? Was it text? Was it email? Was it whatever? So sometimes I'll put that there. Now the cool thing about this is how much it's going to keep track of whether or not you've been paid for that cake. So remember over here, I quoted at 35, so I put that in there. Then she paid me, so I put in 35. That made this turn green, which means my money's in the bank, right? Okay, so this one, for example, I quoted her 75, but she has not paid me. When she pays me, so let's say she just paid me 75, I'm going to put it in there. And as you can see, this now turned green because that is a paid order. I don't have to worry about it, all taken care of. So I'm going to take this off and you'll see again that it'll turn white. You see how it's white again? Okay. So, and I added this to the end, and I might go ahead and add it to the end of the standard price sheet. Just, is it baked? What status is it? So that you can remind yourself, oh, okay, if you've got a lot of stuff going on, I've already baked that one, or no, I haven't baked it yet. So that's what your order tracker will do, and I'm telling you, I'm on that every day, 100 times a day, verifying that I have the numbers right, I have the number of tiers right, I have the flavors right, I have the date and the time and the delivery right, so that's a great, useful thing. Your individual recipe costs, this is where you're putting all your items, your costs per gram and per milliliter of every item, and it's super easy. It looks daunting, but it's not, so don't worry about it. Then this is where you're going to add your cake and your frosting and your fondant recipes, all your recipes, and there's space for 100. If you need more, I can add more for you. So if you want to compare prices and just kind of keep, if you're super organized, which I'm not really, because I haven't, you can see, I haven't put anything in there, but let's say I want to decide, okay, for all-purpose flour, I'm going to go ahead, I would put the name of the vendor here, like Smith's, and I get it for so much per gram. But I found it somewhere else at another vendor, and I found it was this much per gram. So you're going to put it there so that you can compare and keep kind of a running tab of what your best vendors are for all of these. And these just automatically come up from that other spreadsheet, so don't worry about it. But again, this is yellow, so you can put Smith's in there. You can put Amazon in here. Now, the calculator that you saw before is also here. This is a quick check to compare vendors' prices and then insert the price below under the vendor's name, okay? So I'll go into that in another tutorial, how you can use this quickie little thing. So that's a price comparison for ingredients. If you want to have a price comparison, the same thing for supports and cake boards and things like that, this is the exact same thing, okay? So again, you would say for bubble straws, you pay 100, right? So you would go ahead and figure, okay, that's 100, a dollar for 100. So you would put that in there, and then you would say, okay, I found that at Smith's, and I found it for a dollar for 200 at Amazon. So you put Amazon there and vendor too. And you could do the same thing here. Then these links all work. If you've made a link and you've changed your link from the one I put in there, it will be your link here. Okay. Your price list I've already showed you. It comes with a handy chart, so you know that you want to feed 50 and she wants a 2-tier wedding cake. Okay, so for 2 tiers for a wedding cake, and you want to do 3 layers, and you want to feed 50, so it would do you would do a 6 and an 8. And then over here it tells you for a 6 this many grams of batter, and for an 8 this many grams, so you'd add those two together, figure out how many grams of batter you need. If you use cups, that's right here. There's a quick little converter chart here, which is kind of handy. Then, if you just are sitting around one night and you wonder, does the Cake Ninja really help? What you can go ahead and do is put in a date. So let's say I did the Russian honey cake. And before I used the Cake Ninja, I used to charge $180. Okay? And now that I put that into the Cake Ninja, I found out that I wanted to make 40%, and so I decided to charge $210. So it tells you here, it's red. It's telling you, girl, you were losing $30 on every cake because for your profit margin and for your costs, you should have been charging more. Okay, so that's one scenario. But let's say before the Cake Ninja, I was charging $500. Cake Ninja says, well, you probably want to charge $210. If you think you can get it, then you would have a $290 difference, and it's green, meaning you're making more than you would have been making with the Cake Ninja. So if you do this on several and they're all green, good on you, because that means that you've been charging more than the Cake Ninja told you to charge, and if you're getting it, great. But the Cake Ninja's not telling you what to charge, it's telling you what the different prices are at the different profit margins. So again, you need to go back to that costing master and figure out, I always want to make a 40% margin, and say, okay, then that's what all of my prices are going to be priced at, and see if that's the way it's been working for you. That's how this is kind of handy. So that is it for a general overview of what this can do for you. And I'm kind of a spreadsheet geek. I'm always making updates. So stay tuned on the YouTube channel for updates and changes and new tutorials on specific things. Please email me if you have any questions about it. I'm also available to help you once you buy it to do the setup and customize it just to what you need. If you can't figure out how to do something, just let me know, no problem. So anyway, go to www.thecakeninja.com for purchase, and go to Taos Cakes for your YouTube channel, and you'll find all the tutorials and interesting things there. Thank you, and happy baking.